He was, at one point, the envy of the entire world, a king unlike any other, blessed not just with incredible power, but with divine wisdom. But the story of King Solomon is one of history's great cautionary tales, a story of a man who had literally everything, and yet it all went so wrong. Just listen to these words. This is what he wrote near the end of his life. It's the exhausted cry of a man who had tried everything, tasted every pleasure, achieved every success, only to find it was all completely empty. It's a shocking ending for someone who started with so much promise. So, this is the big question, isn't it? How did the wisest person on earth fall so hard? If a man with that much insight could lose his way so completely, what hope is there for the rest of us? And what can we learn from his story? To figure that out, we have to go back to the very beginning. To really understand the tragedy of the fall, you first have to appreciate the glory of the rise. Solomon's reign didn't just start with a crown, it started with a divine encounter and an absolutely incredible offer. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. God himself appears to the young King Solomon in a dream and basically hands him a blank check. He could have asked for anything: more money, a long life, power over his enemies, anything. But Solomon's request was so humble, so selfless. All he asked for was wisdom so he could be a good king to his people. And the Bible says God was so pleased with this that he not only gave Solomon wisdom unlike anyone before or after him, but he also threw in all the things Solomon didn't ask for: incredible wealth and honor. And that divine wisdom, it was put on display almost immediately in this famous story. His order to bring a sword wasn't about violence. It was a masterclass in human psychology. It was designed to reveal the truth, and it worked perfectly. The true mother's love shone through, and in that single moment, his reputation as the wisest king was sealed. And you know, that wisdom became the very bedrock of his kingdom. With it, Solomon kicked off an unparalleled golden age for Israel. His leadership brought peace, international respect, and a level of wealth that was, frankly, legendary. The amount of money flowing in was just staggering. 666 talents of gold came into his treasury every single year. That's over 25 tons of gold annually. And that number, 666, it's interesting, isn't it? In later biblical writings, it becomes this symbol of human pride and falling short of God's perfection, maybe a subtle foreshadowing of the dangers lurking within all that treasure. His reign was just a spectacle of achievement. The man was a poet, a philosopher, a diplomat, and a master builder all rolled into one. He controlled the major trade routes of the ancient world. His influence was so great that silver, which was a precious metal everywhere else, was considered almost worthless in his kingdom. Just incredible. And the world definitely took notice. The Queen of Sheba, a powerful ruler in her own right, traveled a huge distance just to test him, and she was left totally speechless. Her own words tell you everything. The reality of Solomon's kingdom was even more amazing than the legends. And right here, we see Solomon at his absolute spiritual peak. At the dedication of the glorious temple he built for God, he offers this beautiful, humble prayer. The Bible says the very glory of God filled the building. At this moment, he had it all: wisdom, wealth, and a real deep connection with God. And this is the tragic turning point of the whole story, because it wasn't an invading army or a political coup that brought him down. The danger was growing from the inside. The very blessings he received, the peace, the alliances, the wealth, slowly became a trap. The crack started with direct, willful disobedience. God had given a crystal clear command, and it was meant to protect him from spiritual ruin. But Solomon, the wisest man alive, chose to ignore it, marrying hundreds of foreign women for political alliances and personal pleasure. You know, his fall wasn't a sudden event. It was a slow drift, a series of small compromises stacked one on top of the other. It was the quiet erosion of his devotion. Over the years, the beliefs and customs of his foreign wives just slowly pulled his heart in other directions until his loyalty was fatally divided. And this is the heartbreaking result. The very same man who built God's temple now started building altars, high places, for foreign gods. He didn't just tolerate this worship, he participated in it. Even for horrific gods like Molech, whose rituals actually involved sacrificing children. It's an unbelievable betrayal. Well, Actions like that don't go unnoticed. The consequences were coming, and they weren't just going to be personal for Solomon. They were going to reshape the destiny of his entire nation. The judgment was swift and direct. The unified kingdom, that golden age that Solomon had built, was now doomed. What was once built on divine wisdom was now going to shatter because of human disobedience. And then, God made this judgment painfully clear through the prophet Ahijah. In this incredible symbolic act, he takes his own brand new cloak and rips it into 12 pieces, one for each tribe of Israel. Then he hands 10 of those pieces to Jeroboam, one of Solomon's officials, making it obvious the kingdom was going to be ripped apart, a direct result of its king's divided heart. So that brings us back to the old king, reflecting on a life of unparalleled success and bottomless regret. It was only from this place of brokenness that he finally discovered the one piece of wisdom that mattered more than anything else he'd ever known. So when Solomon says meaningless, he isn't saying that having fun or being successful is bad. What he's saying is, after having it all, he realized that stuff is like smoke. You just can't hold on to it. Without being connected to God, it offers nothing that lasts. It's all just chasing the wind. This is it. This is his final thesis statement, the ultimate lesson from a man who tried absolutely everything else. He learned, far too late, that all the wisdom in the world and all the blessings in the world leads to an empty soul if they aren't paired with obedience and devotion to God. Solomon's story is really like a mirror, isn't it? It forces us to ask ourselves, what are we chasing? What little altars might we be building in our own hearts? And will we learn from his tragic fall? Because in the end, it's not about how great your beginning is. It's about how faithful your finish will be.